Thank you for listening to this audiobook. If you found value, meaning, or inspiration in this journey, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next chapter. Your support helps us bring more timeless classics to life. See you in the next reading. The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare. Look, the nightmare begins. Hey everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into a literary masterpiece that isn't just a book, it's an experience. It's a dizzying, mind-bending, philosophical roller coaster, dressed up as a detective story. And the ride begins not with a bang, but with a whisper, a paradox, a fundamental question about the very fabric of our world. We're talking about G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare. And trust me, the title isn't kidding. It really is a nightmare, but in the most brilliantly thought-provoking way imaginable. Imagine, if you will, a world where the lines between good and evil, order and chaos, are not just blurred, but completely dissolved, only to reform in shapes you never anticipated. A world where the very definition of what you perceive to be true is constantly under assault, where identities are fluid, and motives are shrouded in a fog so thick, you can barely see your own hand in front of your face. This isn't just fiction, it's a profound exploration of philosophical ideas wrapped in an adventure story that will leave you questioning everything. Chesterton himself set the stage for this intricate dance of ideas, this intellectual masquerade, with a quote that perfectly encapsulates the novel's essence, a quote that will echo in your mind long after you've turned the final page. He wrote, and I want you to really let this sink in, the poets have been singing for 200 years that they are rebels, and they are not. The poets are the most conservative people in the world. The poets are afraid of the police. They are afraid of the law. They are afraid of anything that would give an ordinary man the power to become a poet. The real poetry is the poetry of law. The real poetry is the poetry of revolt. The real poetry is the poetry of an anarchist. Now, take a moment. Let that sink into your bones. The real poetry is the poetry of law. The real poetry is the poetry of revolt. The real poetry is the poetry of an anarchist. What does that even mean? How can law, with its rigid structure, its rules, its predictable outcomes, be poetic? And how can revolt, often seen as chaotic, destructive, and unpredictable, also be poetic in the same breath? This isn't just a clever turn of phrase, it's the very heartbeat of The Man Who Was Thursday. It's the central paradox that Chesterton brilliantly explores, challenging our preconceptions about order and rebellion, about the guardians of society and those who seek to tear it down. This novel forces us to confront the idea that perhaps, beneath the surface of what we label as good or bad, there's a deeper, more primal force, a shared human impulse that drives both the creation of order and the impulse to shatter it. It suggests that perhaps, the passion, the conviction, the sheer imaginative power required to uphold a system, to truly believe in its justice, is no less potent, no less poetic, than the fiery zeal of someone dedicated to its complete overthrow. It's a stunning, almost audacious claim, and it's the lens through which we begin our journey into this extraordinary nightmare. Our story, or rather, our nightmare, properly begins with a man named Gabriel Syme. And Gabriel Syme is, to put it mildly, an enigma. He's not your average hero. He's not a knight in shining armor, nor a brooding detective. Syme is a philosopher, a deep thinker, a man with a keen intellect and an almost unsettling ability to dissect abstract ideas. But here's the twist, the glorious, mind-bending twist that sets the stage for everything that follows. Gabriel Syme is a policeman. Yes, a policeman. Not just any policeman, mind you, but a detective, specifically recruited into a secret anti-anarchist squad in London. His mission? To infiltrate the most dangerous, most secretive anarchist council in Europe. And how does a man of law, a guardian of order, gain access to such a volatile, subversive group? By becoming one of them. By posing as a poet. Not just any poet, but an anarchist poet. A poet whose verses, whose very being, suppose. Intro and narrator's POV. Well, hello there, and a truly warm welcome. I am absolutely thrilled, genuinely delighted, to have you join us today. You are about to embark on something truly special, a journey that I believe will resonate deeply within you, stirring thoughts and feelings that might have been lying dormant. We are about to plunge headfirst, with both feet, into a literary experience unlike many others you might have encountered. What lies ahead is an epic 4-hour deep dive, a complete immersion, into a book that has fascinated and challenged readers for over a century. This is not just any old story, this is a profound, a captivating, and at times, a dizzying metaphysical thriller. The book, of course, is G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare. And trust me, the nightmare part of that title is not there by accident. It is a carefully chosen word, pregnant with meaning, hinting at the unsettling, the mind-bending, and ultimately, the deeply revealing nature of what we are about to explore together. Now, before we even crack open the first metaphorical page, I want to talk a little bit about the unique lens through which we will be experiencing this remarkable work. Because while the story itself is an adventure, a chase, a mystery, it is also so much more. Our approach here is what I like to call the humanized POV. What does that mean exactly? Well, think of it this way. Chesterton, a brilliant mind, a wordsmith of astonishing talent, wove complex philosophical ideas into the very fabric of his narrative. He didn't just tell a story, he crafted an argument, a reflection on existence, on good and evil, on order and chaos. And sometimes, when confronted with such intellectual giants, it can feel a little daunting, a little remote. Our humanized POV aims to bridge that gap. We are going to explore the raw, universal anxieties of the modern world, the very feelings that gnaw at us today, through the distinct and utterly fascinating lens of the Edwardian era. Imagine, if you will, the turn of the 20th century. A period of immense change, technological marvels alongside deep-seated social unease. Empires were shifting, old certainties were crumbling, and new, often unsettling, ideas were bubbling to the surface. It was a time of tremendous intellectual ferment, but also a time when many people felt adrift, questioning the very foundations of their society, their beliefs, their reality. Does that sound familiar? Because it should. The anxieties they faced, though couched in different language and manifested in different ways, are strikingly similar to the anxieties many of us grapple with right now, in this very moment. The feeling of being watched, of not knowing who to trust, of a pervasive, unseen enemy, of the world making less and less sense as you try to grasp it. Chesterton captured these feelings with an almost prophetic insight, packaging them in a narrative that is both wildly imaginative and disturbingly relevant. So, when I say humanized POV, I mean we're going to peel back the layers of the philosophical arguments and really feel the pulse of the human heart beating beneath them. We're going to ask ourselves, how would I feel in this situation? What would I believe? What fears would consume me? How would I search for meaning when everything seems to conspire against it? We're going to approach Chesterton's profound insights not as abstract theories, but as lived experiences, as relatable struggles, as the very stuff of what it means to be human, grappling with the big questions. We will try to understand why his characters act the way they do, not just from a plot perspective, but from a deeper, emotional, and psychological standpoint. It is about connecting with the universal human struggle for truth, for belonging, for sanity, in a world that often feels insane. For those perhaps new to the incredible mind of G.K. Chesterton, allow me a brief, but I think, vital introduction. Gilbert Keith Chesterton was a colossal figure, both literally and figuratively, in early 20th century English literature. A. Chapter 1, The Two Poets of Saffron Park. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into a literary masterpiece, a thrilling, almost prophetic novel that often gets overlooked in the shadow of its more famous contemporaries. We're talking about G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare. And for our first deep dive, our chapter 1 if you will, we're exploring the very foundations of this philosophical roller coaster, The Two Poets of Saffron Park. This isn't just about two guys arguing, it's about the eternal clash between order and chaos, predictability and rebellion, played out against a surprisingly quaint backdrop. Imagine, if you will, a specific kind of English suburbia. Not the sprawling, anonymous kind, but a place deliberately constructed, almost curated, for the artistic and the intellectual. This is Saffron Park, a little pocket of London where, according to our story, every house was a different shade of green or blue, with a consciously irregular roofline, and every garden gate was a masterpiece of individualistic design. It's a place where individuality is celebrated, almost to the point of becoming its own uniform. A paradox, wouldn't you say? And it's here, as the sun begins its slow, orange descent, painting the eccentric houses in hues of twilight, that we meet our two central figures, two poets, each representing a worldview diametrically opposed to the other. First, there's Gabriel Syme, our narrator, our initial protagonist. Syme is a man of fierce intellect, a poet, yes, but one who finds his poetry in the beauty of the mundane, the nobility of the everyday, the wonder of things that simply work. He's a man who, despite living in this bohemian enclave, cherishes structure, reliability, and the quiet dignity of established order. He's not boring, quite the opposite. He sees the profound in the punctual, the miraculous in the mechanism. He believes that true freedom often resides within the boundaries of a well-ordered system, that beauty isn't necessarily found in smashing norms, but in perfecting them. His passion, you might say, is for the unappreciated miracles of modern civilization. Then we have Lucian Gregory. If Syme is the poet of order, Gregory is the flamboyant, almost theatrical, prophet of chaos. He wears his radicalism like a badge of honor, cultivating an image of a man perpetually on the brink of revolution. His hair, we're told, is long and rebellious, his eyes burn with a certain fanaticism. He's a man who believes that all existing structures are inherently oppressive, that true art, true freedom, can only emerge from the ashes of destruction. He writes poetry, too, but his verses are filled with images of bombs and anarchy, not because he genuinely believes in violence in a practical sense, perhaps, but because he sees it as the ultimate expression of rebellion against a world he deems stifling. He's all about shocking the bourgeois, about tearing down the established idols. He's the kind of guy who wants to rattle cages, even if he's not quite sure what he'd do if all the cages actually opened. As the sun dips lower, casting long, distorted shadows across the artfully arranged gardens of Saffron Park, Syme and Gregory engage in a most fascinating debate. It begins, innocently enough, about poetry. Gregory is expounding on his belief that modern poetry must be violent, revolutionary, tearing down the very fabric of society. He paints a picture of a world where artists are meant to be destructive forces, prophets of an impending, glorious collapse. Syme, however, can't stand it. He pushes back, arguing that what Gregory calls rebellion is often just a pose, a superficial desire to shock. He says, and this is crucial to understanding him, that true rebellion, true originality, might actually lie in defending the very things Gregory despises. The defense of common sense, the appreciation of the reliable, the quiet celebration of the things that make life livable. Syme, with a passion that Gregory mistakes for mere conservatism, argues that the real poet, the true visioner. Chapter 2, The Secret of the Blue Card. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am genuinely thrilled you're joining me today as we peel back another layer of the extraordinary and unsettling world of G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday, a Nightmare. If you're just tuning in, please, do yourself a favor and catch up on Chapter 1. It introduced us to Gabriel Syme, a poet with a fiery spirit and a very peculiar talent for philosophical debate, who, against all odds, found himself unexpectedly nominated to an anarchist council. It was a dizzying, delightful, and subtly menacing opening, setting the stage for an adventure unlike any other. Today, we're diving headfirst into Chapter 2, The Secret of the Blue Card. And let me tell you, that seemingly simple title barely hints at the sheer depth of intrigue, the unsettling revelations, and the profound philosophical shifts packed into these pages. This chapter, my friends, is where our protagonist, Syme, is recruited into a force so clandestine, so utterly unique, that it redefines everything we think we know about policing. We're talking about the philosophical police, and their mission is far more intricate and perilous than catching your average street criminal. So, let's set the scene. Syme, after his rather passionate encounter and debate with Gregory, the self-proclaimed anarchist, and his utterly surprising election to this underground council, finds himself summoned to a truly bizarre meeting. The entire environment is meticulously crafted to disorient, to intimidate, to dismantle any sense of familiar reality, preparing him for a world where nothing is quite as it appears. Imagine, if you can, being led into a room where the darkness isn't just dim or poorly lit, it is absolute. It's not merely the absence of light, it feels like a physical entity, a thick, oppressive, velvety void that presses in on you from all sides, suffocating your senses, making the very air feel heavy and charged. Every single detail, or lack thereof, is designed to amplify the feeling of isolation, of being utterly vulnerable and at the mercy of the unseen. You can almost feel the unnatural chill that permeates the air, a silence that isn't empty but pregnant with an almost unbearable anticipation. Syme, a man who relies on his intellect, his powers of observation, and his quick wit, is suddenly stripped of his primary sensory tools. He can't see faces, he can't read expressions, he can't even discern the contours of the room or the identity of his interlocutors. All he has are his racing thoughts, his acutely heightened hearing, and the profoundly unsettling awareness that he is not alone. Someone, or perhaps multiple someones, are there, observing him, assessing him, dissecting his very soul in this suffocating gloom. And it's not just someone, it's the chief of police. The very title, uttered in such an environment, sends a shiver down your spine, doesn't it? Especially when this chief remains utterly unseen, a voice disembodied, a power ethereal yet undeniably potent and omnipresent within the darkness. This is not your typical police station interrogation. There are no harsh fluorescent lights, no clanging of cell doors, no stale coffee smell. This is a psychological arena, a profound test of will, intellect, and perhaps, even sanity. The voice, when it finally breaks the profound silence, is described as being deep, resonant, almost as if it emanates from the very fabric of the darkness itself, a sound that vibrates through the bones rather than just the ears. It is a voice that commands immediate, unquestioning attention, a voice that leaves absolutely no room for doubt, argument, or even polite inquiry. It possesses an authority that transcends mere rank or worldly power. It speaks with the weight of profound understanding, of an almost cosmic awareness of the intricate forces, both good and ill, that are constantly at play in the world. Syme, for all his intellectual bravado and his penchant for challenging established norms, finds himself utterly captivated, perhaps even a little unnerved, by this Chapter 3, The Man Who Was Thursday. All right, welcome back, fellow literary adventurers, to our deep dive into the mind-bending world of G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare. If you're just joining us, you absolutely need to catch up on the previous chapters, because things are about to get real, really fast. Today, we're plunging headfirst into Chapter 3, a pivotal moment where our protagonist, Gabriel Syme, finds himself teetering on the edge of an abyss. This is the chapter where the stakes are cranked up to 11, where the line between observer and participant blurs into a terrifying, indistinguishable mess. We're talking about a tense, suffocating anarchist meeting, where Syme's quick wit and desperate courage land him right in the heart of the beast. So, picture this: Syme, our undercover detective, has just been recruited by the enigmatic chief of the anti-anarchist police. His mission, should he choose to accept it, and he did, because, well, that's how these stories work, is to infiltrate the Supreme Anarchist Council. He's been given a code name, Thursday, and an impossible task: to become one of them without becoming them. The stage is set, the tension is palpable, and the destination is a grimy, smoke-filled pub, the kind of place where even the air feels suspicious. Let's talk about that atmosphere for a second, because Chesterton, with his masterful strokes, paints a picture that is just utterly unforgettable. Syme walks into this pub, and it's not just a physical space, it's a sensory assault. Imagine the cloying smell of stale beer, cheap tobacco, and unwashed humanity hanging heavy in the air, a thick, greasy pall that clings to your clothes and seeps into your very soul. The lighting is dim, casting long, shifting shadows that make every face seem shifty, every movement suspicious. The tables are sticky with generations of spilled drinks and forgotten secrets. The floor probably crunches underfoot with God knows what. It's the kind of place that smells of desperation and simmering resentment, a place where whispers are more potent than shouts, and a wrong look could earn you a broken nose, or worse. Syme, refined and intellectual, finds himself utterly out of place. He's a man of order, of reason, dropped into a den of absolute chaos and raw, untamed passion. The faces around him are hard, etched with bitterness, suspicion, and a strange, fanatic gleam in their eyes. These aren't just disgruntled citizens, these are people who have, for whatever reason, decided that the entire structure of society needs to be torn down, piece by agonizing piece. You can practically feel the menace radiating from them, a collective energy that promises destruction. Syme is acutely aware that he is an outsider, a sheep among wolves, and one misstep, one false note, could expose him instantly. The air is thick with danger, almost like a living entity, pressing down on him, making every breath a conscious effort. He's trying to blend in, to look natural, but inside, his heart is a drum solo, a frantic rhythm of fear and adrenaline. Every glance feels like an interrogation, every murmur like a conspiracy aimed directly at him. It's a truly terrifying environment, and Chesterton makes you feel Syme's suffocating claustrophobia right along with him. And then, the meeting proper begins. The focus of this gathering, this crucible of revolutionary fervor, is a man named Gregory. Now, Gregory isn't just any anarchist. He is, to put it mildly, a magnetic, terrifying figure. He possesses an electrifying charisma, a captivating intensity that draws people in, even as his words preach utter nihilism. His voice, described by Chesterton with a chilling precision, has the power to charm and to chill simultaneously. He speaks of destruction, of tearing down everything, not for a better world, but simply for the sake of destruction itself. He argues that the ultimate freedom lies in absolute chaos, in the annihilation of all rules, all morals, all structures. It's a dark, compelling philosophy, and he articulates it with such passion that it resonates. Chapter 4, The Council of 7 Days. All right, gather round, because if you thought our journey into the world of Gabriel Syme, the poetic detective, was strange before, you haven't seen anything yet. We're about to step through a very peculiar door, into a room where shadows seem to cling to every corner, and the air itself crackles with an unsettling energy. This, my friends, is Chapter 4, The Council of 7 Days. Imagine Syme, fresh from his unlikely election to the Central Anarchist Council, walking into the heart of the beast. He's been chosen as Thursday, a role he never wanted, a disguise he has to wear. His mission? To unmask these men, these supposed anarchists, and bring down their reign of chaos. But as he crosses the threshold into the council chamber, he's hit with a wave of dread so profound, it chills him to the bone. This isn't just a meeting. It's an unveiling. The room itself is a cavernous, almost ancient space, dimly lit, adding to the theatrical, almost grotesque atmosphere. And there they are, seated around a massive, heavy table. Not just men, but caricatures, almost like living embodiments of some dark, twisted nursery rhyme. Syme looks at them, and it's like staring into a funhouse mirror, each reflection more distorted, more unsettling than the last. He has to keep his composure, he has to remember his mission, but deep down, a tremor of fear, a primal fear, begins to spread through him. First, there's Monday. Monday. He's the secretary. The book describes him with this absolutely chilling lack of anything defining. He's not particularly tall, not particularly short. He's not thin, not fat. He's not handsome, certainly not ugly. He is simply nondescript. Imagine a man so utterly average, so perfectly plain, that his very ordinariness becomes terrifying. It's as if he's the blank canvas upon which all evil could be painted. His eyes are like gray pebbles, reflecting nothing, revealing less. His voice, when he speaks, is devoid of inflection, a flat monotone that could deliver the most horrific news with the same casualness as ordering tea. He wears plain, dark clothes, perfectly pressed, perfectly forgettable. His presence is not a roar, but a whisper, a rustle that you almost don't notice until it's too late. He's the man who could pass through any crowd, unnoticed, unseen, and that, my friends, is his most sinister quality. He is the quiet administrator of chaos, the meticulous clerk of destruction. There's no grand gesture, no dramatic pronouncement, just a quiet, almost clerical evil. Syme feels a shiver looking at him, an unsettling sense that this man is a machine, a cog in a much larger, much more terrifying engine. He doesn't have a deformity in the classical sense, no hunchback, or missing limb, but his utter lack of distinguishing features, his pure, unadulterated commonness, is itself a monstrous disfigurement of the soul. He is the embodiment of bureaucratic evil, the bland face behind the darkest decisions. Then, moving around the table, Syme's gaze falls upon Tuesday. Tuesday is almost the exact opposite of Monday, but equally unsettling. He's described as a man of extreme, almost comical, effeminacy. His features are delicate, almost beautiful, but in a way that feels wrong, a little too precise, too porcelain. He gestures with hands that are almost too graceful, too delicate for a man. His clothes are perhaps a little too fine, too elegant for the company. There's a nervous flutter about him, a perpetual fidgeting that suggests a mind always on edge, always calculating, always aware of every shadow and every whisper. But don't let the delicate facade fool you. This isn't a man of weakness. It's a man whose sensitivity is twisted into something sharp and dangerous, a hyper-awareness that borders on paranoia. He's the type who would notice the slightest tremor in your voice, the faintest flicker in your eyes, and instantly dissect your intentions. His deformity is not physical grossness, but rather an over-refinement, a neurotic perfection that has warped into a sinister intelligence. He's the serpent in Tea. Chapter 5, The Professor and the Chase. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. and to our continuing deep dive into the utterly captivating and profoundly unsettling world of G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare. We're moving into Chapter 5 today, a truly pivotal and mind-altering point in Syme's surreal and terrifying journey, a chapter aptly titled The Professor and the Chase. And let me tell you, if you thought the preceding chapters, with their philosophical debates and shadowy conspiracies, were unsettling, prepare yourselves, because this is precisely where the very fabric of Syme's perceived reality begins to fray, to tear, and to unravel in the most fascinating, disorienting, terrifying ways imaginable. Up until now, we've seen Syme, our intrepid, rather poetic poet turned detective, plunged headfirst into this shadowy, clandestine world, a world operating beneath the thin veneer of everyday life. He's been tasked with an almost impossible mission, infiltrating a secret council of anarchists, those radical thinkers and saboteurs who seek nothing less than to tear down the very foundations of Western society. He's just been dramatically thrust into the intimidating role of Thursday, a seemingly powerful, enigmatic, and exceedingly dangerous position within this subversive group. He's a loyal policeman, a dedicated agent of order and stability, but he's utterly surrounded by what he believes, with every fiber of his being, are the most dangerous, the most brilliant, and the most cunning minds in all of Europe. The very air around him is thick with an almost suffocating paranoia, a pervasive sense of distrust, suspicion, and impending doom, and Syme is constantly on edge, every nerve firing with heightened awareness, trying desperately, painstakingly, to maintain his fragile cover, trying to decipher who's truly who, what's unequivocally real, and what's merely an elaborate, sinister deception. It's a psychological tightrope walk across a bottomless chasm of existential uncertainty, with the icy wind of fear constantly trying to dislodge him from his perilous footing. He truly feels, moment by agonizing moment, like he's navigating a waking nightmare, a hallucinatory world where appearances are utterly deceptive, and where danger, both physical and philosophical, lurks in every shadow, around every corner. So, Syme has just emerged from that intense, suffocating clandestine anarchist meeting, the immense weight of his new, terrifying identity as Thursday pressing down on his shoulders like an unbearable, physical burden. He's walking through the familiar, yet now strangely alienated streets of London, but it's not the vibrant, bustling, wonderfully chaotic London he knows and loves, the city of comforting routines. No, this city has been transformed, utterly muted, and rendered strangely beautiful by a heavy, persistent, almost magical snowfall that has blanketed everything in a pristine, yet chilling white. It's become a silent, almost spectral landscape, each historic building, each glowing street lamp, each bare tree draped in a fresh, blinding, yet incredibly isolating white cloak. The world outside, in its stark, frozen beauty and its uncanny silence, seems to perfectly echo his turbulent, internal state, cold, profoundly isolated, and shrouded in an almost palpable, quiet menace that seems to seep from the very stones. He's trying desperately to process everything he's just witnessed and endured, to assimilate the shocking events, trying to make some semblance of coherent sense out of the bewildering absurdity and the gnawing dread that have so swiftly and violently become his constant, unwelcome companions. He's probably questioning every single decision he's made, every strategic move, every carefully chosen word he's uttered since embarking on this perilous mission. Is he truly good enough, truly capable enough, for this monumental, almost suicidal task? Can he possibly outwit these shadowy, brilliant, and seemingly ruthless figures who now populate his surreal world? These unsettling thoughts are swirling in his Chapter 6, The Unmasking of the Days. Alright, welcome back, my fellow adventurers into the bizarre and the brilliant. We've been on quite a journey so far, haven't we? Following Gabriel Syme, our poet detective, as he dives headfirst into the most terrifying, most absurd secret society the world has ever known. He's infiltrated the Council of Anarchists, taken on the mantle of Thursday, and now, he's found himself in the most impossible, the most mind-bending situation yet. He's running for his life alongside the very man he's supposed to be hunting, the enigmatic, the terrifying President Sunday. This isn't just a chase, it's a descent into the very heart of the mystery, an unraveling of everything Syme thought he knew. And today, we're plunging into Chapter 6, The Unmasking of the Days. This, my friends, is where the whole twisted, beautiful tapestry begins to unfurl, revealing colors and patterns we never could have imagined. Our goal today is to witness this cascading revelation, this moment where the council members, those grotesque figures of terror, are finally unmasked, not just literally, but figuratively, as well. Get ready, because what we're about to discover is both profoundly comedic and deeply, deeply resonant. It's a truth about humanity, about fear, and about the unexpected bonds that form in the most unlikely of circumstances. So, Syme and Sunday, our unlikely duo, are fleeing across Europe, a whirlwind of trains and coaches, always just one step ahead of the relentless pursuit. The chase is exhilarating, exhausting, and utterly baffling. Why is Sunday, the supposed mastermind of all evil, running with Syme, his supposed adversary? The tension is thick, the questions are mounting, but there's a strange, almost feverish camaraderie growing between them. They are, for all intents and purposes, allies in this moment, two men against the world, or at least, against the shadowy forces that seem to be closing in. And then, the confrontations begin. One by one, they encounter the other members of the council, the very men Syme had been so desperate to expose, the figures he had imagined as pure, unadulterated evil. It starts, as many things do in this story, with a sense of dread, a tightening in the chest, that familiar surge of paranoia. First up, Saturday. You remember Saturday, right? The one with the wild, unsettling eyes, the supposed bomb maker, the very embodiment of destructive nihilism. Syme and Sunday are holed up in some forgotten inn, the air thick with apprehension, when Saturday bursts in. Imagine that moment. The fear. The instant recognition of a face you associate with pure menace. Syme's heart must have pounded, ready for a fight, ready for the inevitable violence that seemed to accompany every encounter with these anarchists. But what happens next is anything but expected. Instead of a confrontation, instead of violence, there's confusion. Saturday, rather than attacking, seems almost as bewildered as Syme. And then, the moment. The clumsy, almost comical reveal. Saturday, under interrogation, under the pressure of the moment, reveals himself. He's not a bomb maker. He's not a destructive force of chaos. No, he's a detective, an undercover agent, just like Syme. His grotesque appearance, his wild demeanor, all of it was a meticulously crafted disguise. His true name? Inspector Ratcliffe. Syme's own friend, a man he knew from the police force. Think about that for a second. The sheer, overwhelming irony. Syme has been fearing this man, hating this man, believing him to be the enemy, only to discover he's been an ally all along, working towards the exact same goal. The relief must have been immense, a sudden, dizzying drop from the peak of terror into a valley of bewildered laughter. The monster was a man, a colleague, a fellow hunter. But the revelations don't stop there. Oh no, Chesterton is just getting warmed up. The cascade continues. Next, it's Tuesday. You remember Tuesday, the brutal poet, the one whose words could chill you to the bone, the embodiment of a cruel, intellectual nihilism. Again, the dread. Again, the EXP. Chapter 7, The Six Philosophers. Alright, welcome back, my fellow explorers of the wonderfully weird and mind-bending world of G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday. If you've been with us on this absolutely wild ride, you know we've been deep in the trenches of paranoia, disguised identities, and a conspiracy so intricate it makes your head spin. We've watched Gabriel Syme, our poet-turned-detective, infiltrate the most terrifying anarchist council London has ever seen, only to find himself surrounded by characters who are as enigmatic as they are menacing. But buckle up, because today, we're diving headfirst into Chapter 7, The Six Philosophers. And trust me, this chapter isn't just a turning point in the story, it's a seismic shift, a complete inversion of everything we thought we knew. It's where the spy thriller we've been glued to morphs into something entirely different, something almost mythological. And it all revolves around one truly astonishing revelation, the unification of the six detectives against the one remaining, colossal enemy, Sunday. Now, remember the paranoia? The constant, gnawing suspicion that has been Syme's unwelcome companion since he joined the council? Every face a potential enemy, every word a possible trap, every shadow a lurking threat. He's been convinced that each of his fellow council members, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, are bona fide anarchists, dangerous radicals dedicated to the destruction of order. And in turn, they've been equally convinced of his revolutionary zeal, or perhaps, of his hidden agenda. The air in their meetings has been thick with unspoken accusations, with a tension so palpable you could carve it with a knife. But then, something extraordinary begins to unfold. And Chesterton, in his inimitable style, doesn't just reveal it, he allows it to slowly dawn on Syme, and by extension, on us, the readers, with a kind of delicious, almost absurd irony. The gathering of these 6 men, Monday through Saturday, including our protagonist Syme, who is Thursday, is not some dramatic, orchestrated unmasking ceremony, at least not initially. It's a gradual, almost accidental series of encounters, where the truth, like a persistent ray of sunlight through thick fog, starts to illuminate the astonishing reality. Imagine the scene, my friends, the absolute, mind-bending, reality-shattering moment when each man, one by one, sheds his disguise, not just physically, but psychologically. The air, thick with suspicion and the lingering scent of revolutionary tobacco, suddenly crackles with an entirely new kind of static. It's not the tension of enemies meeting, but the profound, almost comical shock of realizing you've been playing a deadly game of charades with your own team. Their eyes, once filled with calculated suspicion, now widen with a shared, bewildered understanding. You too, one might whisper, his voice hoarse with the weight of revelation. All this time? You were one of us. The implications ripple through the room like a seismic wave, each man grappling with the sheer, almost absurd irony of their shared predicament. Think about the sheer weight of this revelation. Syme, our poet detective, has spent chapters convinced that he's the solitary agent of order amidst a den of chaos. His mission has been one of infiltration, of playing a role, of maintaining a facade against seemingly genuine threats. He's wrestled with his conscience, navigated moral ambiguities, and risked his life in a world where everyone seemed to be out to get him. And now, to discover that the very people he suspected, the very figures he prepared to expose or combat, are in fact, just like him. They are all police detectives, undercover agents, each tasked with infiltrating the very same council, each believing they were the lone wolf in enemy territory. It's a twist so perfectly Chestertonian, so wonderfully paradoxical, that it redefines the very essence of the narrative. It's not just a plot twist, it's an existential revelation for these characters. Let's briefly touch upon EA. Chapter 8, The Chase of the President. Alright, YouTube fam, buckle up, because if you thought the man who was Thursday couldn't get any wilder, you were absolutely, delightfully wrong. We've journeyed through clandestine meetings, undercover operations, and a council of anarchists that turned out to be, well, something else entirely. We've seen identities shatter and reality bend. But now, as we dive headfirst into Chapter 8, The Chase of the President. The book throws every last shred of conventional storytelling out the window. This isn't just a chase, it's a surreal, slapstick, terrifying fever dream that catapults us from a detective novel into something akin to a mythological quest. It is the very essence of a nightmare made manifest. So, where do we find ourselves? Our intrepid, or perhaps, utterly bewildered, detectives, Gabriel Syme, Lucian Gregory, and the others who were once the dreaded Council of Seven, have just had their world upended. They've discovered they're all undercover police officers, each tasked with infiltrating the same anarchist ring. The ultimate reveal was that the real mastermind, the enigmatic President Sunday, was in the room all along. And now, this behemoth of a man, this figure of immense, almost cosmic authority and inscrutability, is about to make his move. And trust me, it's not what you'd expect. Picture this, the big reveal has happened. The air is thick with the dust of shattered expectations, with a bizarre mix of relief and utter confusion. Everyone is looking at Sunday, this colossal, almost overwhelming presence, waiting for some grand explanation, some dramatic pronouncement. Instead, he just stands up, calmly, as if he's merely had enough of the meeting, as if he's about to go grab a cup of tea. Can you imagine the sheer audacity? The absolute, mind-boggling nonchalance? The men, hardened detectives all, are momentarily paralyzed by this sheer, unadulterated oddity. They expect a confrontation, a confession, a struggle. What they get is an unhurried exit. And then, the chase begins. But it's not a foot chase down a dark alley. Oh no, that would be far too mundane for Chesterton's nightmare. Sunday steps out, and what awaits him? An elephant. Yes, a full-grown, majestic, utterly incongruous elephant standing patiently in the streets of London. Just think about that visual for a moment. The grey, grimy, cobblestone streets of early 20th century London, already bustling with horse-drawn carriages and motor cars, and suddenly, there's an elephant. It's a moment of pure, unadulterated absurdity, a perfectly orchestrated disruption of reality that forces you to question everything you thought you knew about the narrative. How did it get there? Who arranged it? Why an elephant? The novel doesn't bother to explain, and that's precisely the point. It simply is. Sunday, with an almost divine serenity, mounts this magnificent beast. No struggle, no hesitation. He simply ascends, like a king taking his throne. And off they go, the elephant lumbering through the stunned city streets, a living, breathing, colossal disruption. The chase begins not with speed, but with overwhelming, undeniable presence. Our detectives, still reeling from the shock, scramble after him. Imagine the scene, a band of somewhat disheveled, thoroughly confused men, desperately trying to keep pace with an elephant that is casually demolishing street furniture, scattering passers-by, and generally creating an epic scene of delightful chaos. It's slapstick comedy on an elephantine scale, a parade of bewildered faces, flailing limbs, and the rhythmic, ground-shaking thud of massive footsteps. The sheer impracticality of pursuing an elephant in London is part of the genius. It highlights the futility, the absurdity of trying to apply logic to Sunday's world. But Chesterton isn't content with just an elephant. Oh no, he's just getting warmed up. As the chase, or rather, the parade of the pachyderm, continues, Sunday transitions to his next mode of impossible transport, a hot air balloon. Just as swiftly and inexplicably as the elephant appeared, Chapter 9, The Feast of Fear. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into the penultimate chapter of G.K. Chesterton's mind-bending masterpiece, The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare. We've been on quite the journey with Gabriel Syme, navigating the labyrinthine world of the Central Anarchist Council, a world where nothing is as it seems, and every turn brings a new layer of deception. If you're just joining us, buckle up, because what we're about to explore is less a story and more a philosophical roller coaster, culminating in a scene that will forever change how you view reality, authority, and perhaps even suffering itself. This, my friends, is Chapter 9, The Feast of Fear. And believe me, the title does not disappoint. It's the final confrontation, a grand, almost absurd spectacle at the enigmatic Sunday's estate, leading to a metaphysical interrogation that pushes the boundaries of narrative and thought. Imagine this: after a relentless chase, after battling through personal doubts and public masquerades, our band of detectives, or rather, what they thought were anarchists, finally arrive at the estate of the formidable president of the council, the enigmatic Sunday. But this isn't just any arrival. This is an invitation to a costume party, an elaborate charade that sets the stage for the ultimate reveal. The theme? Each guest must come dressed as their day of creation. Let's paint this picture, because it is vivid and unsettling. Picture Sunday's sprawling, almost labyrinthine estate, a place that seems to shift and breathe with an unnatural life. The air is thick with anticipation, the scent of expensive cigars mingling with the faint aroma of exotic flowers from the manicured gardens outside. Inside, the grand ballroom, usually a place of opulent silence, now hums with a strange, strained festivity. Soft, eerie music, perhaps a waltz played by unseen musicians, drifts through the high-ceilinged hall, adding to the almost dreamlike quality of the scene. The lighting is subdued, casting long, dancing shadows that make the already bizarre costumes seem even more grotesque and alive. And the costumes themselves. This isn't your average Halloween party. The instruction was to dress as the day you were created, a concept so profound and open to interpretation that it immediately infuses the gathering with a layer of philosophical speculation. Everyone is there, of course. First, There's Monday, who we know as the mysterious and sometimes melancholic Sims. He arrives dressed as a sort of primordial man, perhaps a caveman, or even just a glimmer of nascent consciousness. His costume is rough, earthy, a stark contrast to the refined setting, but it carries a certain primal dignity. He seems burdened, as if carrying the weight of the world's very beginning on his shoulders, an embodiment of the first stirrings of life, perhaps even of doubt. His movements are slow, deliberate, his eyes scanning the room with an ancient weariness, a quiet intensity that has always defined him, even in his most chaotic moments as a pseudo-anarchist. Then there's Tuesday, the colossal Gogol. True to his nature, he embodies something elemental and raw. He is dressed as a magnificent, perhaps terrifying, beast. Not a specific animal, but rather the essence of wildness itself, a creature of untamed power and instinct, furred and formidable. His costume is elaborate, his presence overwhelming, a force of nature condensed into human form. There's a growling humor about him, a barely contained exuberance, yet also a powerful, almost menacing undertone. He strides through the hall, a walking, breathing testament to the untamed aspects of creation, a primal roar in human guise. Wednesday, the man with the distinctive scar, steps forth as a representation of nature itself. Perhaps he's adorned with leaves and branches, his face painted with the swirling patterns of the wind or the dappled light of a forest. He could be a great tree, ancient and rooted, or even the vast, indifferent ocean. His costume is organic, flowing, blending with. Chapter 10, The Vision of Peace. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. What a journey it has been, right? We've chased anarchists through foggy London streets, debated philosophy on rooftops, and danced on the edge of cosmic absurdity. And now, we've arrived. We've reached chapter 10 of G.K. Chesterton's wild, brilliant ride, The Man Who Was Thursday, aptly titled The Vision of Peace. This isn't just a chapter, it's the grand finale, the theological mic drop, the moment we wake up from the nightmare, but with eyes that see something entirely new. You know, throughout this series, we've seen Syme and the other detectives, disguised as anarchists, grappling with layers upon layers of deception, paranoia, and existential dread. We've watched them unmask one another, only to find themselves more bewildered than ever. And then, there was Sunday. The terrifying, enigmatic Sunday, the president of the European Anarchist Council, a figure of such immense, overwhelming presence that he seemed to defy any single description. He was a force of nature, a jovial giant, a philosophical powerhouse, a relentless pursuer, and ultimately, a shepherd of sorts. Now, as our characters gather in this surreal, celebratory feast, after a chase that spanned the very fabric of their perceived reality, Sunday makes his final, most profound revelation. It's a moment that recontextualizes everything that came before, transforming fear into understanding, and chaos into a strange, beautiful harmony. The scene is set in this incredible, almost otherworldly garden, a place of vibrant, impossible colors, where the characters, now shed of their anarchist disguises, wear the clothes of their true selves, their names mirroring the days of the week they represented. It's a moment of profound recognition, a kind of sacred gathering after a long, arduous spiritual quest. And then, Sunday, still immense, still powerful, but now imbued with an almost divine gentleness, poses a question that cuts through the celebratory air, through the lingering confusion, and right to the core of their being. He asks, with a voice that is both a thunderclap and a whisper, "Can ye drink of the cup that I drink of?" Think about that for a moment. This isn't just a casual inquiry. This is a direct echo, a powerful allusion, to a pivotal moment in Christian scripture, specifically from the Gospel of Matthew and Mark. When Jesus asks James and John this very question, he's not asking if they can handle a celebratory drink. He's asking if they can share in his suffering, if they can bear the burden of his mission, if they are prepared to face persecution, sacrifice, and ultimately, death. It's a question about true discipleship, about understanding the immense cost of profound purpose. Now, apply this to Syme and the others. They have just been through an ordeal of epic proportions. They have felt the terror of being hunted, the paranoia of being constantly watched, the despair of seemingly meaningless violence. They have, in their own way, drunk from a cup of confusion, fear, and existential angst. And Sunday, the very orchestrator of their nightmare, reveals himself not as their tormentor, but as the one who has drunk the deepest, who bears the heaviest burden of all. He, the president of the anarchists, was, in fact, the chief detective, the one battling against the real forces of chaos and nihilism. More than that, he reveals himself to be something even grander, more fundamental. This revelation is nothing short of breathtaking. It completely flips the script. The one they saw as the ultimate enemy, the embodiment of chaotic evil, turns out to be the one suffering the most, carrying the weight of the entire structure, the one who orchestrated their trial not out of malice, but out of a profound, almost paternal, desire to awaken them. He himself is the suffering, benevolent creator, the architect of both their ordeal and their eventual enlightenment. His cup is the cup of creation itself, filled with the joy of bringing things into being, but also with the sorrow of seeing them struggle, the pain. Chapter 11, Psychological Analysis. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep, not into plot points or character arcs in the traditional sense, but into the very fabric of what makes G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday such a profoundly unsettling, yet ultimately uplifting, experience. We're on Chapter 11, the Psychological Analysis, and trust me, this is where the real magic, or perhaps the real nightmare, begins to unravel itself in our minds. We've journeyed through a world of poetry, philosophy, spies, and anarchists, where nothing is quite as it seems. But now, it's time to pull back the final curtain and ask, what does this entire chaotic, exhilarating, and deeply perplexing narrative mean for the human psyche? What is Chesterton trying to tell us about ourselves, about our fears, our hopes, and our place in a world that often feels both random and terrifyingly ordered? This isn't just a story, it's an allegorical mirror reflecting the inner workings of our own minds, our societies, and perhaps, even the very nature of existence. So, grab a warm drink, settle in, because we're about to deconstruct this allegory, peeling back the layers to uncover the profound psychological truths embedded within Chesterton's masterpiece. We're going to explore how we create our own monsters, how optimism can be a radical act, the strange bonds forged in shared suffering, and why sometimes, we need chaos to truly appreciate the beauty of order. Let's start with one of the most compelling psychological themes running through The Man Who Was Thursday, the idea of projected fear. Have you ever felt a shiver down your spine, not from something truly dangerous in front of you, but from a phantom threat, a whisper of what could be, what might be lurking just beyond your sight? This is precisely the sensation Chesterton masterfully explores. The entire premise of the story is built upon this very human tendency. Our protagonist, Gabriel Syme, a poet-detective, infiltrates the Council of Anarchists, a clandestine organization led by the enigmatic and terrifying figure of Sunday. Syme, along with each successive member he encounters, perceives the others as genuinely dangerous, subversive, and utterly monstrous anarchists. They are the embodiment of everything he, and indeed society, fears: chaos, destruction, nihilism. But here's the exquisite, almost cruel, irony that Chesterton so brilliantly reveals: every single member of the council, with the exception of Sunday himself and the one true anarchist, is an undercover detective, just like Syme. They are all fearing each other, projecting their deepest anxieties onto their supposed enemies, who are in reality, fellow travelers on the same difficult, dangerous path. Think about that for a moment. They are literally fighting phantoms, or rather, fighting their own reflections in a distorted mirror. Each detective, burdened by their secret mission, sees the others through the lens of their own terror of anarchy. They construct elaborate mental images of these monsters, imbuing them with malevolent intentions, ruthless cunning, and a complete disregard for human life and order. They create these monsters out of the unknown, out of the uncertainty of who stands before them. This theme of projected fear isn't just a clever plot device, it's a profound commentary on the human condition. We, as individuals and as societies, are constantly prone to this. When faced with the unknown, with something or someone that doesn't fit neatly into our established categories, our minds often rush to fill that void with our darkest imaginings. We transform difference into danger, unfamiliarity into hostility. Think about the rumors that spread like wildfire, the conspiracy theories that take hold, or the way we sometimes demonize groups of people simply because we don't understand them, or because they challenge our comfortable worldview. Chesterton, writing in the early 20th century, was keenly observing a world grappling with new political ideologies, social upheavals, and the rise of radical movement. Chapter 12, Modern Relevance. All right, my friends, we've journeyed through the labyrinthine streets of Chesterton's mind. We've chased shadows, unmasked disguised philosophers, and perhaps even questioned our own sanity a time or two. We've navigated the delightful, terrifying, and utterly unique world of The Man Who Was Thursday, a Nightmare. And now, as we reach what I consider one of the most crucial chapters in our exploration, we ask ourselves a fundamental question, one that truly brings this whole experience home. Why does this bizarre, century-old nightmare still resonate with us today, in the hustle and bustle, the digital deluge, the often bewildering reality of the 21st century? Why does it matter, right here, right now? This isn't just about literary appreciation, though Chesterton certainly deserves that in spades. This is about discovering how a book published in 1908 can hold up a mirror to our deepest fears, our most persistent anxieties, and our timeless search for meaning. So, let's pull back the curtain on modern relevance and see what revelations await. First, let's talk about fear. Specifically, let's compare the anarchist fears that gripped society in 1908 to the complex, often amorphous global anxieties that gnaw at us today. Back when Chesterton was writing, the specter of anarchism was a very real, very tangible threat in many people's minds. There were bombings, assassinations, calls for radical social upheaval. It was a time when the established order felt genuinely under siege, not just from foreign enemies, but from invisible, subversive forces operating within society itself. People worried about hidden cells, secret societies, individuals dedicated to chaos, all working to unravel the fabric of civilization. The fear wasn't just of violence, it was of the unknown enemy, the person next door who might secretly be plotting the destruction of everything you held dear. It was a fear of betrayal from within, a fear of a world where nothing was what it seemed. The news was filled with stories that fueled this paranoia, creating a palpable sense of unease. There was a sense that the very foundations of society were cracking under the strain of these radical ideologies, and that the world was hurtling towards an uncertain, potentially catastrophic future. People felt a deep sense of vulnerability, a constant worry that the next act of terror could be just around the corner, meticulously planned by a shadowy organization whose motives and methods were shrouded in mystery. This wasn't just political rhetoric, it was a deeply ingrained cultural anxiety, one that Chesterton brilliantly tapped into and exaggerated to create his nightmare. The fear was that order itself was an illusion, fragile and easily shattered by a determined few. Now, fast forward to the 21st century. Do we still fear anarchists in the same way? Perhaps not in the exact historical sense, but the feeling of that fear, the essence of that anxiety, is incredibly potent and persistent. Our modern global anxieties might wear different masks, but beneath them, the core terror remains eerily similar. Think about it. We live in an age grappling with global terrorism, where the enemy often operates outside traditional state structures, where sleeper cells and lone wolves can strike anywhere, anytime. The threat feels diffuse, everywhere and nowhere all at once, much like the omnipresent Council of Seven in Chesterton's novel. We've seen entire societies gripped by fear, altering daily life and freedoms in response to this unseen, unpredictable danger. But it goes beyond that, doesn't it? Consider the pervasive fear of misinformation and disinformation. This is a truly 21st century form of anarchy, isn't it? The deliberate erosion of truth, the intentional spread of falsehoods to destabilize societies, to turn neighbor against neighbor, to make us doubt everything we see, hear, or read. It's a kind of cognitive anarchy, where the very foundation of shared reality feels under attack. We're constantly bombarded with conflicting narratives, making it incredibly diff. 7-Day Action Plan, Finding Order in Chaos. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something truly special, something that I think will resonate deeply with so many of us trying to navigate the beautiful, bewildering mess that is modern life. We're going to talk about finding order in chaos, but not in the way you might expect. We're not talking about productivity hacks or minimalist decluttering, though those have their place. No, we're going deeper, drawing inspiration from a brilliant, whimsical, and profoundly wise mind, G.K. Chesterton, and specifically, his masterpiece, The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare. If you've never read it, Chesterton's novel is a wild, philosophical romp, a detective story where nothing is quite what it seems, and every villain might just be a hero in disguise. It's a story that grapples with anarchism, existential fear, the nature of evil, and ultimately, the profound beauty of order, faith, and fellowship. It's a book that reminds us that beneath the most terrifying facades, there often lies something far more human, far more understandable, and perhaps, even divine. The world Chesterton painted in The Man Who Was Thursday feels, in many ways, surprisingly relevant today. We live in an age that often feels like a nightmare, doesn't it? A constant barrage of information, anxieties, and uncertainties. It can feel like we're all just chasing shadows, constantly on the brink of some unknown catastrophe. And in that feeling, in that sense of disquiet, Chesterton offers a unique perspective. He doesn't shy away from the chaos, but he shows us how to look for the hidden order, the underlying poetry, and the enduring sanity that holds everything together. So, how do we take the profound, sometimes paradoxical wisdom of Chesterton and apply it to our everyday lives? How do we find our own Sunday in a world that often feels like a perpetual Thursday? That's exactly what we're going to explore today with our 7-day action plan, Finding Order in Chaos. This isn't about grand gestures or immediate transformations. It's about small, intentional shifts in perspective, little experiments in living that can gradually, subtly, begin to reframe your experience of the world. It's a practical, week-long guide to applying Chesterton's philosophy, not just to understand it, but to truly feel it, to live it. Each day builds on the last, guiding you through a process of rediscovery, confronting fears, embracing community, and ultimately, finding a deeper peace. So, grab a pen, or just bookmark this video, and let's embark on this journey together. Day 1 and Day 2, the poetry of law. When we hear the word law or routine, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For many of us, it's restriction, boredom, maybe even drudgery. We chafe against schedules, traffic rules, the relentless ticking of the clock. We dream of freedom, spontaneity, breaking free from the mundane. But Chesterton, with his characteristic genius for paradox, invites us to see something entirely different. He suggests that law, order, and routine are not the enemies of freedom, but its very foundation. They are, in fact, the poetry of law. Think about it. The sun rises and sets with unwavering precision. Gravity keeps our feet on the ground and the planets in their orbits. The seasons cycle through, bringing growth and rest. These are laws, cosmic routines, and they are not restrictive, they are the very fabric of existence, allowing for the astonishing diversity and beauty of life. Without the law of gravity, we couldn't even stand up, let alone dance or build cathedrals. Without the routine of the sun, there would be no day and night, no rhythm for life to unfurl. In our own lives, we often overlook the quiet, dependable rhythms that sustain us. Our morning coffee ritual, the predictable route to work, the way traffic lights smoothly most of the time manage the flow of vehicles, even the simple fact that the supermarket is open when you need it. These aren't exciting, perhaps, but they are the silent scaffolding that prevents our lives from. One, how likely is this worst-case scenario, really? Based on past experiences, based on reality? 2, what evidence do I have to support this fear? Has this exact terrible thing happened before? 3, what evidence contradicts this fear? Have I ever done something similar successfully? Do I have skills or support systems that would prevent it? 4, what control do I actually have over the outcome? What can I do to mitigate the worst parts? 5, and perhaps most importantly, even if the worst did happen, would it truly be the end of the world? Would I recover? Would others remember it as vividly as I fear they would? Often, when we shine the light of rational inquiry on our fears, they begin to shrink. Like the characters in Chesterton's novel who find that the terrifying anarchist leaders are not quite what they seemed, we often find our own fears are less monstrous, less potent, and more understandable than we initially believed. They are often phantoms built from assumptions and projected anxieties, not solid realities. Your action for Day 3, choose one fear. Write down its worst-case scenario. Then, systematically answer the 5 questions above. Don't censor yourself. Be honest. The goal is to see the fear clearly, stripped of its exaggerated power. Moving into day 4, we're going to continue unmasking fear, but with a slight shift. On day 3, you investigated the reality of your fear. On day 4, we're going to take a small, brave step towards disproving it or at least diminishing its power. Remember that fear you chose on day 3? If your fear was about speaking up in a meeting, day 4 isn't about giving a keynote speech. It might be about simply asking one question, or making one brief comment. If your fear was about reaching out to an old friend, it might be sending a short text message, not crafting an elaborate email. If it was about a new recipe, it might be trying just one component of that recipe for yourself, not cooking the whole thing for a dinner party. The key is to take a micro-action that challenges the fear in a safe, controlled way. This isn't about conquering the fear entirely in one go, but about gathering new evidence. It's about showing yourself that the ground won't open up beneath you, that the monster isn't quite as big in daylight. As you take this micro-action, pay close attention to what actually happens. Does the worst-case scenario unfold? Almost certainly not. Does it feel as terrifying in the moment as it did in your imagination? Usually, the anticipation is far worse than the reality. After you've taken your small step, reflect on the experience. Write down. 1. What did you actually do? 2. What was the actual outcome? 3. How did you feel before, during, and after? 4. What did this micro-action teach you about your fear? This process isn't about eliminating fear entirely. Fear is a natural human emotion and sometimes a helpful warning system. It's about recalibrating your relationship with it. It's about distinguishing between genuine threats and exaggerated worries, between real danger and phantom anxieties. By actively unmasking these fears, we begin to reclaim the mental and emotional energy they once consumed, freeing us to engage with the world more fully and authentically. Just like Chesterton's characters, we start to see that the world, even in its chaos, is often more benign, more rational, and more beautiful than our fears would have us believe. Day 5 and Day 6, Fellowship. One of the most profound revelations in The Man Who Was Thursday is the discovery that even those we perceive as enemies, those who seem utterly isolated in their malevolence, are often just people. They are individuals burdened by their own anxieties, their own masks, their own profound sense of loneliness. The core message that emerges is the essential, redemptive power of human connection, of fellowship. In a world that often encourages individualism to the point of isolation, Chesterton reminds us that we are fundamentally social beings, and that shared burdens are lightened burdens. For Day 5, your focus is on breaking isolation by sharing a burden with a friend. Now, when I say burden, I don't mean you need to unload your deepest, darkest secrets or a life-altering crisis, though those certainly qualify. A burden can be something much smaller and more common: a persistent work stress, a nagging decision you're struggling to make, a creative block, a feeling of overwhelm about household chores, or even just a general sense of being a bit down. The point is not the magnitude of the burden, but the act of sharing it. We often operate under the misguided belief that we must be strong, self-sufficient, and capable of handling everything on our own. We fear appearing weak, or imposing on others. But Chesterton, with his deep understanding of human nature, would argue that this self-imposed isolation is its own form of prison. True strength often lies in vulnerability, in the courage to admit that you don't have all the answers, and that you could use a listening ear. So, for day 5, identify one person you trust, a friend, a family member, a colleague, a mentor. And then, identify one burden, large or small, that you've been carrying alone. It could be something you've thought about mentioning, but always decided against. It could be a frustration you've simply kept to yourself. Your action step is to reach out to that person and share that burden. It doesn't have to be a formal confession. It can be a casual conversation over coffee, a phone call, or even a thoughtful message. The phrasing could be as simple as, "Hey, I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed with X lately, and I just wanted to talk it through with someone," or "I'm trying to figure out why, and I was wondering if you had any thoughts, or just a moment to listen." What happens when you share? Often, several wonderful things. First, the act of verbalizing a worry, of bringing it out of the echoing chambers of your mind and into the shared space of conversation, immediately diminishes its power. It becomes less abstract, more concrete, and thus, more manageable. Second, you might gain a new perspective, an insight you hadn't considered. Your friend might offer advice, or simply a different way of looking at the problem. But perhaps most importantly, you experience connection. You remember that you are not alone, that there are others who care, who are willing to listen, and who understand. This sense of fellowship is a profound antidote to the feeling of isolation that chaos often engenders. Reflect on how it felt to share. Did the burden feel lighter? Did you feel more connected? Even if the problem isn't instantly solved, the warmth of shared humanity is its own reward. Now, on to day 6. Where we deepen this theme of fellowship. Summary: 3 key takeaways. Hey there, fellow adventurers of the mind, and welcome back to the channel. We've just journeyed through the labyrinthine, the bewildering, and ultimately, the deeply profound world of G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday, a Nightmare. And what a journey it was, right? It's a book that starts with a poetic detective, spirals into a secret society of anarchists, and ends with one of the most unexpected revelations in all of literature. If you haven't read it, or even if you have, it's one of those stories that lingers, that whispers questions into the quiet corners of your thoughts long after you've turned the final page. Now, We've spent quite a bit of time dissecting the plot, admiring Chesterton's philosophical acrobatics, and wrestling with the sheer genius of his narrative. But as we always do here, it's time to distill that entire 4-hour experience, that roller coaster of paranoia and revelation, into 3 truly memorable and, dare I say, life-altering lessons. These aren't just literary observations, these are insights you can carry with you, long after the echoes of Sunday's booming voice have faded. So, let's dive into the core wisdom embedded within this glorious, beautiful nightmare. Our first key takeaway, a lesson that ripples through every twist and turn of Gabriel Syme's terrifying ordeal, is this: takeaway 1, things are rarely as bad as they seem. Perception versus reality. Think back to the opening of the book. Gabriel Syme, a poet detective, is plunged headfirst into a world he perceives as utterly rotten, teeming with shadowy figures plotting to dismantle society itself. He sees anarchists everywhere, their faces masked by sinister intentions, their words dripping with nihilistic venom. The very air feels thick with conspiracy, dread, and an impending, inevitable doom. He joins the Central Anarchist Council, a group of 7 men named after the days of the week, each more menacing than the last, all orchestrated by the colossal, enigmatic figure known only as Sunday. Syme's perception is one of relentless, pervasive evil. He believes he is literally staring into the abyss, fighting a lonely, desperate battle against forces that seek to extinguish all that is good and orderly in the world. Every encounter is fraught with danger, every conversation a dance on the edge of betrayal. He sees danger in every shadow, a potential bomb in every package, and a sinister motive behind every seemingly innocuous gesture. The world, through his eyes, is a terrifying place, on the brink of collapse, held together by the thinnest of threads. But what is the reality? As the layers of the onion peel back, one by one, we discover that almost every single anarchist Syme encounters is, in fact, a fellow detective, an agent of the very order he believes he is defending. They are all undercover, playing a part, just like him, trying to infiltrate the actual anarchists, who turn out to be far fewer and far less powerful than they initially appeared. The entire terrifying facade, the nightmare, was an elaborate, almost theatrical performance, designed to expose the true villain. The monsters under his bed were, in essence, other children hiding there, too. This is such a potent lesson for us in our own lives, isn't it? How often do we find ourselves consumed by anxiety, convinced that a situation is dire, that an enemy is formidable, or that a problem is insurmountable? We build up these grand, terrifying narratives in our heads. Perhaps it's a looming deadline at work that feels impossible to meet, a difficult conversation with a loved one that we've replayed 100 disastrous ways in our mind, or even the general state of the world as presented through endless news cycles. We perceive these things as gargantuan, threatening, inescapable. Our imagination, often a wonderful tool, can also be our greatest tormentor, conjuring up fears that are far more menacing than the reality. Chesterton, with his inimitable wit and wisdom, reminds us that the perceived threat is often a distortion, a shadow cast by our own fears, and as outro and call to action. And so, we arrive at the quiet closing of our journey through the bewildering, brilliant corridors of G.K. Chesterton's The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare. It is a book that leaves an indelible mark, a peculiar echo in the mind long after the final page is turned, much like a dream that feels profoundly significant but whose true meaning remains just beyond our grasp, shimmering at the edges of memory. We've wrestled with anarchists and poets, with logic and lunacy, with the very nature of identity and the elusive pursuit of truth. And perhaps, like Gabriel Syme, we find ourselves, at the end of it all, not with concrete answers, but with an even deeper, more profound question etched into our souls, a question that lingers and invites endless contemplation, asking us to look inward, then outward, into the vast, beautiful, and terrifying unknown. This brings me to the heart of what I truly want to leave you with today, as we step away from this extraordinary narrative. If The Man Who Was Thursday has taught us anything, it is that beneath layers of chaos and deception, there often lies an ultimate, unifying principle, a profound truth, or perhaps, an ultimate mystery that truly underpins everything. For Syme and his fellow detectives, that ultimate revelation, that symbol of peace and incomprehensible wisdom, was Sunday, the benevolent, all-seeing, yet deeply enigmatic president of the Central Anarchist Council, a figure who embodied both terrifying power and serene comfort, a paradox wrapped in existence itself. Sunday represented the final frontier of understanding, the entity that held all the strings, the ultimate architect of their surreal, dangerous game, and ultimately, the source of an unexpected, almost divine, compassion. This revelation turned their world upside down, revealing that the very forces they fought were, in an intricate, cosmic dance, working towards a higher, more benevolent purpose than they could have imagined in their initial fear and suspicion. This understanding of Sunday in Chesterton's universe is not just about a character, it is a profound philosophical statement about the nature of reality, about providence, about the possibility that even our darkest struggles are part of a grander design, a design we can only glimpse in moments of profound insight or after enduring bewildering trials. It urges us to consider the ultimate source of order, the ultimate meaning behind the chaos we perceive and react to. So, my question to you, my dear fellow travelers through the literary landscape, is this: who is your Sunday? What is it, in your own life, in your own philosophy, in your deepest yearnings, that represents your ultimate mystery? What is that singular, overarching concept, that ultimate truth, that profound, perhaps even unfathomable, principle that stands at the very apex of your personal universe? Is it a spiritual belief, a philosophical conviction that guides your every step, a silent, unshakable faith that whispers to you in moments of doubt and clarity? Is it the pursuit of absolute knowledge, an insatiable curiosity about the fundamental laws of the cosmos, forever pushing the boundaries of what is known and what remains eternally elusive? Perhaps it is a deeply personal connection to nature, finding your Sunday in the boundless majesty of a starlit night, the ancient wisdom of a towering forest, or the relentless, rhythmic power of the ocean, a force that humbles and inspires. For some, Sunday might be represented by an artistic ideal, the relentless pursuit of beauty, harmony, or truth through creation, a melody so perfect it seems to resonate with the very soul of the universe, a painting that captures the essence of human emotion, a story that unveils universal truths. It could be an idealized vision of humanity, a hope for a future where justice, compassion, and understanding reign supreme, a utopian dream that fuels your activism and your daily efforts to make the world a better place, even in the face of overwhelming cynicism. Or maybe, your Sunday is simply, welcome back, fellow seekers of the shadows. You've tuned into Stories of Crime, the place where the veil between the mundane and the monstrous is brutally ripped away. Tonight, we aren't just reading a report. We are opening a file, marked top priority, tucked away in the darkest corner of the archives. We're going to step across that chalk line and peer into the void, where human nature meets its most terrifying extremes. In this hour, the street lights flicker, the shadows deepen, and the truth is often far more chilling than any fiction you could invent. Forget the heroes. Tonight, we focus on the villains. On the motives that curdle the blood, and the consequences that echo forever. So, dim the lights. Lock your doors. Take a deep, steadying breath, because once the story begins, there's no turning back. This is Stories of Crime. And the case we're unfolding tonight is